What's good, family? How y'all doing? We're in the Born Again today. Hope y'all like this one. Yeah. New Mercy 365 clothing on Amazon.com. All right, man. Hope y'all had a good weekend. No, I've been away for a little bit. Want to continue talking about the elephant in the room. This will be part 5, and today I'm gonna be speaking about a subject that's even touchy for me to speak on, and that's the church. Remember, I speak on this because I come from the generation that's it's very responsible for why things are the way they are now, and trying to find solutions and deal with real issues that can help us deal with our problems and help get us out this bondage that we've been in. So that's why I do this. Moving on. So make sure that you're grounded in the right church. Make sure that, like anything else you do in life, like when you shop and you're shopping for a product, or you're shopping for whatever is dear to you at that moment, that you do the research before you just go buy something, before you commit to something. Make sure that the value is make sure the value lines up with with what you're buying. And I say that because so many times now, with the church and the climate of the situations that we're in right now, with the COVID and everything else that's going on in the world, we like to be told things that makes us feel comfortable, just the good side of things versus dealing with just the real reality of things. We want to stay in a comfortable place. We want it to be, we want to go to church because, we get our favorite seat, and, our parking space is available for us, and, our friends is on our side, and, everybody's kind of just, agreeing with one another, and, there's never any challenging or anything like that. And that had turned me off during this time, because I remember that a pastor I had, he was he would talk about, like, if we ever come into these types of times that we're in right now, that we would have to come visit him in jail, because he refused for the church to be persecuted, and to allow men or man to dictate what he was going to do in church and how he was going to run his church and things like that. And the craziest part is that once we hit this this whole flu, he folded. That man folded. And I'm not saying he's not a good man. It's just, for me, he didn't stick to his word. And I had a real problem with that, because I was wanting to fight and do the things that he was saying that we should do during these times, because most people, they recognize where we are right now. They recognize that these are the last days. They recognize that this is a spiritual warfare, a real spiritual warfare. And I expected, my expectations from what he spoke was that he was going to fight and he was going to go all out. And he closed his church like everybody else did, and got more caught up in the fear factor than the wisdom factor that he spoke about. And I just couldn't do it. I couldn't continue on, because I'm not built like that. I mean, even coming from the streets, I mean, you're not just gonna fold just because it just when the situations you put yourself in, and you get caught in certain situations, and then you just up and fold once it happens to you, knowing the consequences, knowing that this could happen, knowing that it's going to happen. you know, you kind of, in a sense, you made that pledge. You took that vow, in a sense. And so you got to stand tall when it hits you. You know what I'm saying? The good or bad. Like, I mean, whatever happens, you got to stand tall in the situation. You know what I'm saying? And you got to endure situations that you don't want to endure. And, so I see, some dangers in it, because, I also noticed that because of where we are right now, this is kind of called a lot of the church leaders out, in a sense, because, you got your congregants that lean more towards, let's just say, to be politically correct, the right side of the political parties, and you got people who leans to the left side of parties. But a lot of the church leaders won't tell you the real deal, even though that they know where they stand. They'll try to just, kind of just combat it with, the Lord's going to take care of it and this and that. And he is, like he really is. Like, I agree with that statement. However, you recognize what's going on out here. You understand the spiritual warfare, and you understand who is in charge of the spiritual warfare. And just so happens, it happens to be one of these parties. It is what it is. We all know that. Whether we want to agree, disagree, admit it or not admit it, we understand it. We see it every day. We're seeing, with the sex trafficking, Epstein, Maxwell lady, people are being exposed. We're seeing other ties, and we see that normally all these ties with the Marxist ties, with the, the Black Lives Movement, all that, like, we see that it belongs to one party, and it's plain, it's blatant. Like, the devil is not hiding. He does not feel a need to have to hide. He's in the open, because he's like, you know what? To him, or to them, to their allegiance, the Christians is soft right now. They ain't gonna do nothing anyway. Like, they're not gonna stand up. And I don't mean that for all of them, but I'm noticing that it's a lot, and they're being exposed. And soon, people are gonna feel like they don't need the church, because instead of being built up right now, they're falling into the whole mode of the leaders, and the leaders are just sitting back, and they're just cool with just doing this online stuff. Nothing against online stuff, because I knew, people that was basically leading their ministries online before this was popular. So, but a lot of these leaders aren't facing the issues because they know that they'll lose their people. And if you're going to a church that, your leader is afraid that he's going to lose the people, which, if he loses the people, means he's going to lose the numbers, which means he loses the numbers, he's going to lose the money. That might not be the right place for you. So we got to be aware, because I see a lot of preachers playing the fence right now. They playing in the middle. And, it's unfortunate, because everybody's watching them, and instead of them just being like, you know what, forget it. If I lose if I'm about to lose some things, I'm just about to lose it, but I gotta stand up for right. And a lot of them are not doing that. They're just playing it safe to keep the people, and it's unfortunate. It's very sad. That's why this conversation, probably out of all of them that I've talked about with the elephant in the room, is probably the most difficult, because man, it's just an unfortunate thing, and I know that some of these leaders, they got a board of people to deal with, where they're not the only person that makes the last decision, that they have other people who, makes decisions as well. But it's a time where you're just gonna have to stand up, and you're just gonna have to be like, you know what, this ain't what I signed up for. This ain't the direction that we need to go. And it's like you're gonna have to make a hard decision for yourself, like, this is not what it is. Because you're hiding the truth from the people. You're hiding the truth from the people, and people are quick to say, at this point in time, and I'm just using this as an example, but you know, I'm going to pick the lesser of both evil. And there's no such thing. You know, like evil is evil. You know what I'm saying? I would say that, you know, for the people to say that, I mean, like, don't exclude yourself. Church, don't exclude yourself. Because, I mean, you're doing a lot of things that aren't, you know, that's not the way God would lead it. And you know it. You in your heart, you know it. So, I mean, when you use those type of comments and those phrases, it's like, it's not just a political party. You know, that goes for churches, that goes for any business, you know, whether it's lawyers, attorneys, you know, teachers, you know, mechanics, whatever. Like, you know, you got good ones, you got bad ones. And so that's in every organization. You got good and bad in every organization, which is why you have to, in this situation, you pick the policies, who stands for the policies that you need versus the personality. So, and once again, I'm not telling no one how to vote. And I'm not saying that the church needs to tell anyone how to vote either. Like, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is give them the truth so that they can discern what is what. Because we keep telling them that they're fighting this invisible enemy, but you know who the enemy is. And you're not telling the people who the enemy is. So it's like, at this point, you know, you gotta hold the church leaders are responsible. You gotta hold them accountable because they're not being accountable. Not all of them, but I'm just saying, like, a lot of them. And that's a problem. When there's a lot of them, you know, they need to be held accountable, you know, and someone has to, you know, take that stand. So that's what makes it uncomfortable, because a lot of people, I actually like them. I don't have nothing against them, but, you know, they're just not leading, you know, people in the proper direction at this point, and it's just unfortunate, you know. I'm noticing that the same people, they generally don't have a new fresh word either, you know. Them being caught up in whatever they're caught up in, or dealing with the issues that they're dealing with, like, they don't have a really fresh word. Like, they kind of just talk about the same things they used to talk about. And I'm just like, we're in a new season, you know, like, we've been in a new season now for about 8 months. And it's like, you should have plenty of new fresh word to talk about at this point. Plenty. But, yeah, I just wanted to get on and talk about that because that's a huge, huge issue that we have, and it's in the church. So, you know, be careful. Be careful what you're listening to. Be careful what you're being told. Read the word for yourself. You know, have community outreaches together, have Bible studies together, and, you know, learn and study that word. You know what I'm saying? You can do that as a group, you know, I mean, because eventually people aren't going to need the church, because you're going to be the church, you know, so they're not going to be looking for a building to go to. You know, I think that it is going to go back to the beginning. You know, people are just going to be at homes and, you know, and teaching the word, and people are going to just be getting baptized at home, you know, and they tubs, you know what I mean? Like, seriously, like, it's going to go down like that. And, you know, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to get saved just because of that, you know. So anyway, you know, I just want to say, you know, just be careful, you know, just, you know, this is a time to look at the church as well, you know. So everyone's accountable, everybody. It's not just Republicans, Democrats, and that type of thing, you know what I'm saying? And everyone has not good in their organization. So, you know, let's cut all that out and let's just deal with the real. Let's fix, you know what I'm saying? Let's tweak, let's move out what needs to be moved out, you know what I'm saying? And let's continue to build on what's good, you know, which is the word of God. So anyway, thanks. I'm not going to hold you that long. I went a little longer than I wanted to anyway, but leave comments, you know, let me know how you feel, you know, maybe I'm off, you know, let me know how you feel. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share. So thanks for tuning in once again. I love you guys. In Jesus' name, peace.